Hi, Assalamu alaikum. In this video, we will understand about the autonomic nervous system. It is involuntary and contain the parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system. The parasympathetic nervous system is the rest and digest. In this way, the anabolism will occur due to the parasympathetic nervous system, while it will lead to rest and sleep as well as basically the relaxation, while the sympathetic is the fight and flight response. It means the catabolic and more alert to consume more energy. So in this way, here is the person which that contain a visceral organ and other organ. So this all body will change due to the parasympathetic nervous system and sympathetic nervous system. Remember, the all time the parasympathetic nervous system and sympathetic nervous system correlate to each other for normal physiology. So this is the brainstem contain and the spinal cord, and spinal cord is the cervical region, thoracic, lumbar and sacral region. In this way, the constrict of pupil due to the basically is the parasympathetic nervous system and decrease the light absorption from the lens due to the constriction of pupil. So no more alertness. On the other hand, stimulate the saliva and tear production from the basically is the salivary adrenergic nerve fiber. Remember, and the constrict the bronchi in the lungs. It is basically less breathe, and in this way easy to basically breathe and less no dilation because less breathing and slow heartbeat. On the other hand, the stimulate the stomach, pancreas and intestine, the splanchnic nerves which that arise, and in this way it will lead to digest the food and trigger the peristaltic movement. Stimulate the urination from the sacral region, that is the cervical and the brainstem region, while the sacral region will lead to stimulate the urination and promote the erection of genitals. So the reproductive organ promote to erection, and in this way the organ will erect, and that is basically the genital. The sympathetic nervous system will lead to dilate pupil for more polarization of light and inhibit the saliva, and this basically is the thoracic region important for it and cervical. So in this way the accelerate heartbeat and dilate bronchi for more breathing, more heart rate increase, stimulate the epinephrine and norepinephrine release, which that will lead to constriction and vasodilation and stimulate glucose release from the liver. And on the other hand, the lumbar and sacral region, this inhibit the basically the lumbar thoracic and lumbar region, which that inhibit the urine production and inhibit the stomach and pancreas and intestine secretion. On the other hand, they promote the ejaculation and the vaginal contraction from the hypogastric plexus and the pudendal nerves innervate. The involuntary innervation, the autonomic motor neuron. So in this way, let's understand about how it can work. For example, the stimulus, this is the gray matter and white matter of the spinal cord. It is the cross section of the spinal cord. The butterfly look like is the gray matter while the white matter, and this is the spinal cord. And stimulus like stress or happiness will trigger to the several part of the body. So in this way, here you can see the preganglionic neuron is myelinated, and this contain acetylcholine is a neurotransmitter will trigger the further on the nerve fiber. This nerve fiber is the unmyelinated and decrease the nerve impulse as compared to the myelinated. So the saltatory conduction will not occur. Autonomic motor neuron, basically here, which that is the autonomic ganglion. In this way, remember this ganglion is, we will discuss with the detail, will release the acetylcholine for the effector. That effector, it is the postganglionic neuron. So the effector is can be the stomach like intestine, digestive system, and heart or gland. So in this way, the contraction and relaxation on the basis of the nervous system, the autonomic nervous system, due to the smooth muscle and cardiac muscle heart rate increase or decrease on the basis of the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. While in the case of gland, the increase or decrease the secretion. In this way, for example, when the glucocorticoid response, it is the glucocorticoid produced due to the sympathetic nervous system, will lead to target to the liver to increase the glucose uptake into the blood, is known as the glycogenolysis, to produce more ATP when go into the several type of tissue like muscle. Anyhow, let's understand about the detail. So what will be happen? So let's understand about the region of the spinal cord where the arise of the nerve is the sympathetic and parasympathetic and pre and post ganglionic nerve fiber. This is the brain, and remember, and basically the brain stem is basically is the initial part. Arise the three nerve fiber. It can be a sympathetic, parasympathetic. So this is the cervical C1 to C8, while the thoracic T1 to T12. So 12 is the thoracic vertebrae which that arise the nerve fiber, the neuron, dorsal and ventral root of ganglia, and lumbar region and sacral. Lumbar is 5 and sacral is 4. So remember these things. I am mentioning with the number is the lumbar region and sacral. Sacral 4 and lumbar 5. 5 nerve fiber arise from it. Let's understand from the brain stem. So the brain stem basically contain the three nerve innervation for the parasympathetic. So we are understanding the parasympathetic, like the axillary neuron, the nerve ganglion, which that will lead to constrict the pupil of eye, and in this way the less light absorption and the less focusing and basically less working, and in this way the parasympathetic. The lacrimation, the lacrimal gland, is through a pterygopalatine nerve fiber. The ganglion will arise from the pre to post ganglion, will lead to tear production. While on the other hand, the otic and the submandibular ganglion will lead to cause the basically parotid salivary gland secretion and sublingual and submandibular gland secretion. So in this way, this is a four ganglion is important. On the other hand, the third brainstem nuclei will arise the nerve fiber used for the lungs, decrease the breathing and heart rate decrease, stomach and small intestine for working, for digestion, liver for the glycogenesis and the lipogenesis, pancreas is used for the production of insulin, and kidney is used for the excretion, and the distal small intestine and large intestine and ascending transverse colon also used for the movement of bowel, the food, digestion also, and absorption. The sacral region also innervate the three nerve fiber, the ganglion, pre to post, will lead to transverse colon, distal colon, and rectum, is used for the digestion and absorption, and the bowel movement, and urinary bladder, which that is used for the storage of urine, and the male and female sex organ is used for the erection and the contraction of the vagina. And in this way, here you can see the cervical C1 to C8 nerve is the part of the sympathetic nerve fiber. The first is the intracranial vessel, a neuron, intracranial nerve, which that will lead to supply the blood through vasoconstriction and vasodilation. On the other hand, the C1 to C8 fiber, this is the ganglion, which that is the sympathetic chain we are understanding through yellowish color. And in this way here you can see this is the eye, dilate the pupil and the inhibit the tear production, On the other hand, the parotid salivary gland basically is used for the inhibit the salivation, so the dry mouth. On the other hand, the basically this arise from the cervical neuron, but the thoracic neuron is the lesser subclavicular nerve and the least subclavicular nerve, and on the other hand the gastric subclavicular nerve, the greater subclavicular nerve, which that is innervate and form the ganglion. This fifth ganglion is known as the celiac ganglion, preganglionic to postganglion, the post nerve fiber, which that will lead to distal small intestine and large intestine, ascending and transverse colon to the basically inhibit the function of these, because the parasympathetic nervous system inhibit while the sympathetic nervous system activate. On the other hand, this is the innervation of the celiac to the inferior mesenteric and superior mesenteric artery by a celiac, as well as the lesser and least subclavicular artery, lead to transverse colon and the urinary bladder and male and female sex organ to innervate. It is the hypogastric plexus. So the basically the celiac, which that is basically part of the fifth nerve fiber ganglion, and on the other hand, this is the hypogastric plexus is used for the innervation for the transverse colon and distal colon and rectum to basically defecation, and urinary bladder for the pee out, and the male and female sex organ for the ejaculation. So this is the important things. So in summarization, the sympathetic nerve fiber basically used for the fight and flight response.